The feeling of hyperfixation is starting and I'm scared. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and to another video. Today we are doing a Naruto video that's going to be different than what I have been doing because I've been wanting to make more content about it. I'll be so for real. But today we're going to do a tier list of the characters from the OG series. Now, if this is your first time on the channel, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Hannah and I am on my first time Naruto journey. I've been doing recaps and reviews of each arc as I've watched it, and I decided since I recently finished the original series, okay, I'm not gonna lie, it was not recent. I'm on like the 4th arc of Shippuden. I was just like, I need to make this list. I need to make this list before I freak out because this show's starting to get into my brain. It's starting to get into my brain, if you know what I mean. But because where I am on YouTube is I just finished the original series, I haven't talked about Shippuden yet, I thought I would do this before I get into my Shippuden arc recaps because the characters are really fun in this show and I have some thoughts. So it's gonna be your regular S tier through D tier. This is completely based off of my own opinions. I'm not really basing it off of how well written I think they are or anything like that unless I specifically mention it. Every once in a while there is a character that will be ranked high simply because I think they're well written, not because I like them, but I will mention that. Otherwise, it's just based off of my own personal preference in characters and opinions, so if I do something that you don't like, that is okay. We just disagree on something. Also, I'm going to be totally honest, while Naruto is starting to get into that like hyperfixation side of my brain, there are a lot of characters on this list that I won't know the name of right off the top of my head, simply because I'm very new to the story and some of these characters on there I might have only seen for a short period of time. It takes me a while to memorize character names. I usually have to watch something 2, 3, 4 times to remember those names. So bear with me, don't judge me for not knowing all the character names. It is what it is. I've only watched the original series once and I didn't watch filler, so that's just the disclaimer. But we're gonna have some fun today and we're gonna dive right in, but before we do, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts on my tier list. Again, I just ask that you keep it respectful. Remember that you're probably gonna disagree with me on a couple things, and that is okay. You can also follow me on social media. I am at Hannah Malay on Instagram and TikTok, and I actually recently introduced a new Naruto cosplay to Instagram. If you wanna check that out, definitely go follow me. It's linked in the description. And then you can also follow me on X at lookingnerdy. All right, let's do this. Okay, I'm looking at this list. I think it's randomized. It might be in alphabetical order. I don't know, but I think it's literally just randomized. This was pre-made, by the way. I did not go through and put all the characters in it. I just searched up original Naruto series character tier list, and this was there. So I did also add 2. So I added faves and I added meh, and those are gonna be the characters that maybe I just don't remember or they just didn't leave an impression on me enough for me to really have an opinion. Again, I've only watched the original series once, and I'm gonna try to not let my feelings on some of these characters from their development in Shippuden really shine through, because a lot of my opinions have changed since I started Shippuden, which is kind of a spoiler alert for the upcoming videos, but I'm just explaining that. Okay, so the first one we have is Kiba. I like him. I don't know. This is already so much harder than Demon Slayer because Demon Slayer is a show I've watched like 20 times. This one I've only watched once, so it's a hard. Kiba, I'll put in B. I like him. I don't have many opinions on him yet. He's been pretty prevalent. He was pretty prevalent to the final arc of the original series, which was my favorite arc so far. He was pretty helpful and he seems like a really sweet kid. So I'll put him in B. I don't like dislike him, but I wouldn't put him in like, oh my gosh, I love him or anything like that. I think there's gonna be more to come for him. Rock Lee. Okay, so Rock Lee was actually kind of in my top 3. He actually was somewhat of a favorite character for a minute. The problem is the cast of characters is kind of all over the place for me. There's just constant rotation, which is pretty common for me. But right now, I'm trying to put myself in how I felt at the end of the series, of the original series. I'm gonna put him in S. Okay, so I really do like Rock Lee, and I think that in the original series, he got a lot of really good development. I would say he got like the most important development within the Chunin exam, which I didn't really love the Chunin exam. I've said that a lot of times. It's gonna keep getting brought up. I'm so sorry. I didn't love the Chunin exam. However, I did love his 1v1 with Gata. I feel like that 1v1 was probably the most interesting part of the story, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on that as far as that arc goes. I like Rock Lee. He definitely falls into the category of characters that I usually will really, really love. He's very kind-hearted. He works very hard. He's not like that physically gifted because he can't do one of the jutsus. I can't remember which one, or any of them. I don't remember. It's been a minute. Okay. But he has to just like work really hard to get somewhere. He's not physically gifted, and it makes him stronger, but he's also just like a good kid. Like he just tries to do what's right at all times, but sometimes he might sway from that path. So I'll put him in S for now. That might change around a little bit, but as of the end of the original series, that feels good. Orochimaru. So Orochimaru is interesting because I hate him. I don't like him. He's very creepy. Ugh. And what he's doing with Sasuke is really annoying me. But I do think he's very well written. I think he's one of the more interesting villains that I can think of off the top of my head. And he really gives the story an interesting dynamic considering he is one of the Sannin. And he kind of went off and did his thing. And he was very much drawn to the idea of immortality and that sort of thing. So I don't like him. He's a villain. I don't tend to really like villains. And he is very evil through and through as of right now. I'm going to put him in A though, because I do think that he's a very interesting villain. He's got interesting motives, and I'm interested to see more what happens with him. Tsunade. Okay, Tsunade we're putting in S. Tsunade was the first female character that I was like, okay, we've got a good female character finally. One of my biggest gripes with the original series was not that the female characters were necessarily bad. Like, I don't hate any of them. It's more of they are victims of poor writing, in my opinion. Especially like Sakura, one of my biggest issues right off the bat with the show was when we were getting into the fights in like the first arc, she always was literally the emoji of just standing there, right? And it was like, do something, like please. But that was not really a Sakura problem. That was a overall writing problem, in my opinion. So Tsunade was, to me, the start of, I don't know if the author started working with people that knew how to write female characters. Like, there's still issues with her, I would say, but she's really strong. She's Hokage now. And I think that her showing up and having very real human experiences and having flaws and struggling with the decision of, is she gonna bring back her family, the people that she loves, because Orochimaru told her like he could do that, and give up protecting Hidden Leaf? Or is she going to put away her selfish desires and protect Hidden Leaf? And I feel like that's a very human thing that a lot of us would go through. We want to do the selfish thing, but she ended up choosing to protect the village and became Hokage. And she's really strong, and she's just really cool. So she goes in S. Choji. I'm not gonna lie, I thought Choji was gonna die in that final arc because I felt like I hadn't really seen much of him from Shippuden, and it kind of seemed like he was giving his life for the cause in that moment. I was actually a little bit disappointed that he didn't. I feel like that would have held more weight if he had. I mean, it would have made that arc even worse because they technically lost, that was the Sasuke retrieval mission, and of course they did not retrieve Sasuke. So they did already lose, and the fact that at least they all survived was very, very, like, the bright side, right? But the way it was going, I felt he should have died, honestly. Not because I'm like, oh, I don't like that character. I just felt like how he was doing it maybe was gonna lead to that a little bit more. Anyway, I like Choji. We'll put him in B. It's like, more to come. Hinata. Okay, Hinata is definitely probably the biggest victim of poor writing in my opinion, which makes me really sad because I think she could be a very interesting character, but she's barely gotten any screen time. When she is on screen, all she can do is be the, like, Naruto-kun, and it's very annoying. Now, I do know spoilers about her character as far as, like, the very end of the show, so I know what's gonna happen, but I'm a little bit annoyed right now. And I don't even have anything to add to her with Shippuden yet, because she, like, pretty much hasn't been prevalent. I did like her 1v1 with Neji, but, like, it was a moment, and then she literally, like, was about to die, and then they didn't talk about her for, like, 20 episodes, and I was like, okay. So I really want to like her, I just don't find her interesting at all yet, and I find her slightly annoying, I guess. I don't know if that's a hot take. For now, we're putting her in C. I would really like to put her higher than that, and I hope that she will get better. But right now, it's meh. And you're gonna see, unfortunately, my biggest issue with the original series was just the lack of good writing with the female characters. That's why I love Tsunade so much, is because she finally showed up and was like, oh, okay, like, we're doing something here. We're important, we're strong, we can fight, we have very human things. Anyway, because of that, so I can't even remember her name. I literally cannot remember her name. So it's not that I dislike her, like she seems sweet. I guess I should put her in meh then. Is meh actually lower than D? Maybe I should move meh in between, because D is like, oh, I dislike this person. Meh can go right here. Okay, I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't know enough yet. The third Hokage. This is so much harder when I don't have as much time with these characters. This was harder than I was expecting it to be. Okay, the third Hokage can go in C. I did not care when he died. I felt like the battle between him and Orochimaru was gonna be so good. All the other battles during that, I think it's called like Konoha Crush arc or whatever, like the invasion arc, all the other battles carried that, like they were very interesting. The battle between Orochimaru and the third Hokage, which should have been the highlight, was making me laugh because there was like 10 episodes straight where we would check in on them and they were still standing there going, "Aah!" I know that doesn't really have much to do with his character as a whole, right? But I feel like he was fine. He was fine. I'm gonna say that a lot because a lot of the characters in the original series, they were fine. Okay. What is his name? Oh, Shiro? Shiro can go in C, B. I feel like I don't, like I know his ability and I know he was in the story quite a lot, but I don't have many feelings. So a C feels like a great thing. Iruka Sensei, I'll put him in A. I actually really liked him. He also is the kind of character that I would tend to kind of lean towards. He's just really sweet and he's a teacher. I love the protective teachers and when they care about people and their students and that sort of thing. And whenever he shows up on stream, I'm always like, oh, like that's so sweet. I like that he was also the one in the first episode that really was able to recognize Naruto when Naruto finally kind of awoken in that first episode because he was just not going to graduate still. So I really liked that moment. That was a great first episode and I enjoy his character. I really do like him. Okay, Naruto. So, in the original series, I found him very annoying. I'm sorry. I did just find him annoying, and I know a lot of people warn me about that he starts out just a very whiny kid, and that's fine. He was, what, like 12 during the original series or something like that? He's like a baby. The date bio, which I think gets translated in English with the dub to believe it, so when I'm like, date bio is annoying, that means like, because he ends every sentence with believe it, right? That I found very annoying. He definitely grows quite a lot in the season, but by the end of the original series, I still was iffy on him. He will grow on me, I think. Like, he has the capability of being that sunshine boy and that, like, precious son of mine, like I do with so many of the shonen MCs, right? But as of right now, I'm gonna have to put him in A because I want to love him. I really do. I can't right now. I'm getting there. I love him, but I could love him more. And I don't love him as much as Tsunade and Rock Lee. Kankuro. His redemption was kind of overshadowed by Gaara's, of course. However, I feel like people tend to forget that him and Gaara and Temari, like they all technically were getting a redemption arc. It was just that Gaara was the one that was focused on the most. That being said, of the trio of them, I think I care about him the least. I feel like I just haven't had enough time, and again, I'll say it over and over again, a lot of these characters, I just haven't had enough time to really have a ton of feelings yet. I'm gonna put him in B. That feels right. I don't know why, it just does. Jiraiya. Okay, Jiraiya I have a love-hate relationship with. I don't like the perv trope. There's just no need for it. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I know it's anime and people will be like, oh, like it's just a part of anime. but it still grosses me out, okay? Like, that's just, it is what it is. Outside of that, he's a great character. He's a really enjoyable character. I love the mentor and student relationship he has with Naruto and how he takes care of him. I love just like that he is silly, that he is super strong, that sort of thing. I just wish we could make him funny in a different way. Like, the comedy of him is not funny to me. I don't know anyone who actually finds that kind of stuff funny, so I don't really know why it's still such a popular trope. This is also a product of its time. I think the original series started in like 2001 or something. I was 4, 5, depending on what time of the year. So, you know, a lot of people who watch me were not in existence for a while yet, which is absolutely crazy to me. But that being said, I do love him. I wish there wasn't that, ugh. So I'm gonna put him in A, because I feel like I can't put him in S, because there's that part of him that I just can't stand. But the rest of him is what he would be in faves. Like, he would be in faves if it weren't for that. Kabuto, D. I'm gonna be so for real, I hate that guy. I hate him. He's a schemer, he's annoying, he's pretty, he's attractive. That's all he's got going for him. So he's going in the lowest tier, because Asuma. I'm trying to not allow my current emotions of where I'm at in Shippuden get to me. If you know, you know. I would sure hope if you're watching this, you're like not gonna be spoiled from what I say. This has been out for a long time. Asuma, though, in the original series, I'll be so for real. I like him. I'll put him in B, just because I feel like I do really, really like him. I'm trying to base my thoughts off of the original series. He would be higher if I was also including Shippuden thoughts into this, but I'm really trying to turn that side of my brain off right now. But for now, he's in B, just because I felt like, again, a lot of characters were introduced in this original series, but a lot of them, I feel like they just haven't had enough time for me to care yet, especially because I'm doing this based off of just one watch through. So I keep saying that, but I'm just trying to not make people mad. Okay, I don't remember this person's name, but I do remember who they are, because they were actually really interesting. If you go back and watch the video I made about the first arc, I was very pleasantly surprised by the first season of Naruto. When I started this, everyone was telling me, you know, watch the original series. You're gonna love it once you get to Shippuden. Shippuden is when things start. And they're not necessarily incorrect there. I have definitely grown into loving the show a lot more since getting into Shippuden. Like I said, I'm like 4 arcs in at the time of recording this. But I went into Naruto expecting to just dislike it. And the only arc I really disliked was the Chunin exam. So I feel like the first arc did a good job at introducing our main characters, introducing our power structure, introducing the stakes, and also having some very interesting villains that had good reason to be villains, in my opinion. Like, I like it when, you know, these stories have villains where it's just they come from a different experience, so they chose a different path than our heroes. And I think that's really important for us as an audience to understand. So I'm gonna put both, I can't remember their name, but I remember his name is Zabuza. I found them both interesting, so I'm gonna put them B. Both of them are going in B. And that's me being pleasantly surprised by the villains. I was expecting that first arc, the villains, to be very like one-dimensional and boring, and they did a very good job at explaining the story and giving us interesting villains and interesting fights that kept my attention the entire first season, so that I could be like, okay, this is actually not that bad. And it maybe made Chunin exam harder for me, but it is what it is. I don't remember this guy's name. He's going in meh. I don't have opinions. I don't hate him. I just meh. I don't remember much about him. I know he was really, really strong. He was like the bone guy that had like bones spurred out of him and that sort of thing. Guy Sensei. I love him. I do find him a bit annoying at times. It's just, that's my prerogative. I don't know if people find him annoying. I've not really joined the fandom yet, because I know I'm gonna get spoiled if I do, so I haven't really interacted with people yet, which, by the way, don't spoil me in the comments, please. If you like want to say something about future, like I said, as of recording this, I'm like 4 arcs into Shippuden. I'm like halfway through an arc that I know what's gonna happen. Like, Pain was just introduced. I just saw his face a few episodes ago. I know what's gonna happen. I've been spoiled on that. But anyway, Guy Sensei, a part of me loves him, a part of me is like, I find him very annoying. And I can't really back it up with like, oh, he's well written, because I just don't know enough about him or the story yet. I'll put him in B. Yeah, like all the characters in B, I feel like I have similar feelings. Like I like them, but not enough to put them higher than that. Temari. I actually really like Temari. I like that she never felt really like she was gonna be bad. She was one that was just kind of very supportive of Gata and wanted to take care of him. And then when they had their redemption arc, her helping them made so much sense, and I really like her. I also really love her voice actor. Her voice actor is also Hanji in Attack on Titan and Ed in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. That shouldn't really sway my opinion of the character, but if the voice is good, okay, I get a little swayed. I'm gonna put her in A, because I do really like her. Kisame? I think it's Kisame, if I'm remembering correctly. Meh, I don't have opinions on him yet. I'm sorry. Sakura. Okay. Sakura, I really like her. Like, I genuinely feel like she's a good representation of a lot of teenage girls that are going through the like change of her body and the world and just trying to figure things out, has a crush on a boy, is super obsessive over him. I would be lying if I didn't say I relate to her, because I was similar to her when I was a teenager and like a tween. I was probably obnoxious at times, probably a know-it-all, and probably annoyed a lot of people. I didn't know how to act socially. I was homeschooled, okay? I relate to her, but on the other hand, she is really where I say like the writing of the female characters really bothered me. That being said, my love for her grew in Shippuden, so I can't really, again, allow myself to use that as an example here. I'm gonna put her in A, because I feel like it's a disservice to do less, because I do like her. And I guess that might be a hot take. A lot of people like genuinely hate her. I don't hate her. I just feel like right now she's a victim of not good writing. And this isn't based fully off of writing. This is just based off of my feelings. So I'm putting her in A. Oh, Tsunade is like assistant. I can't remember her name. I like her, but I don't have a ton of feelings. I'm gonna put her in C, because I feel like Tsunade's getting all this development. And this girl's really strong, but she's kind of just there also. And just kind of the assistant that's just like there. She was really cool when she like went after, I think, Kabuto when they were greeted by them the first time. But like, that's the only part where I was like, oh, she's cool. Konohamaru. Some of these names I kind of remember. I might say it incorrectly. He's cute. I don't have many thoughts. It's a little bit better than meh, because he's been present quite a lot and he's adorable and I like his dynamic with Naruto, but I don't have much else to say. Kurenai, okay, her design is so cool. Like, genuinely, she was the first character that I saw. I was like, oh, I kind of want to cosplay her. My issue is, I feel like when it came to the Jonin that were in charge of, like, the students, 4 main ones were Kakashi, Asuma, Guy Sensei, and Kurenai. And it was so obvious to me that she had the least amount of screen time, the least amount of any type of dynamic with them. And that was, again, very bothersome. I bring it up a lot. It's a thorn in my side that the female characters were written in the way that they were in this original series. She was just sidelined, even though she's a Jonin. And even when she did jump into the fight against Itachi at the end of the... when was that? That was before the Sasuke retrieval mission. I don't remember exactly where that was. She, like, jumped in. She didn't do anything to help, and then was, again, like, the standing there emoji. So, unfortunately, I have to put her in C, because I don't hate her. I have thoughts on her, so it's not meh. It's just like, I wish she was more useful. Like, she's a Jonin. I want to see her Jonin abilities. Akamaru. He's, I don't know if that's a hot take. I'm putting him in meh because it's the same with the, I can't remember his name. Meh, like, I don't know. Is that Genma? I think I think his name is Genma. Okay, the reason I can actually remember this guy's name is because my friend, so I do a podcast with two of my friends, and it's called the Hashira Half Hour. So it's mostly about Demon Slayer, but we touch on a lot of other animes. Like right now we're talking about Dandadan. My two friends in that have been watching Naruto for a long time. When Swordsmith Village was airing and we were talking about it, she kept on accidentally saying Genma instead of Genya. And it was like, she was very confused and it was a running joke, and it still is a running joke. Because when I was talking to them about something that happened in this arc, she was like, it's Genma. And I was like, oh, is that actually Genma? And she's like, yeah, that's Genma. So anyway, that's why he left an impression on me. But again, not many feelings, so he goes in C. Meh. I do not remember this guy. I feel like he might have been, okay, he was probably one of the sand ninjas? Okay, not only do I not remember him, but I also, what I think I know of him, I don't like him, so he's going in D. Okay, this is the one animal that I'm gonna put in B. I genuinely liked him. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was funny. He was funny as hell, man. I really, really liked him. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, Sasuke. If I'm remembering this correctly, years ago, I was talking to a friend who I did not know from anime. I knew from a completely different part of my life, but she did watch anime. And we were talking about animes that we would be willing to give a try if the other watched something else. I wanted her to watch Attack on Titan. She wanted me to watch Naruto. And we were going back and forth about it. And again, this was years ago, so like obviously nothing ever came out of it. But I was talking about like maybe trying Naruto, and she was like, you just have to promise me one thing. You have to hate a certain character. I think she said, you have to hate Sasuke. But I can't remember fully if that's what she said. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was very confused by that, especially at the beginning. Like, yeah, he was kind of like a brat, right? But I also found Naruto annoying. I also found Sakura annoying. I actually preferred Sasuke of the main trio for a majority of this original series. I do think he's a whiny brat now. He is a teenager who's dealing with a lot of emotions, who's gone through unspeakable trauma. And I think the show also does a very good job at showing the differences in responses to trauma. And he's kind of going down that very revenge quest road that makes sense to his character. I don't hate him. I like him. I don't like him as much now that the original series ended, but at the same time, I felt like he was one of the more well-written characters of the main characters. His story's very interesting, it's very sad. He's just whiny brat. That's like my only issue with him. So again, am I gonna get hate for this? Maybe. I'm putting him in an S. Don't come for me. I can't remember who this guy is, literally one bit. Wait. He's back. Okay, he was in there twice. I don't remember this guy either. But I also think I hated him. Oh, these are the guys from the Hidden Mist Village in the first season that were... I don't remember. This guy, I think, helped them a little bit. I'll put him in C because I think I remember him a little bit. I don't like this guy. He freaked me out. I didn't like any of Orochimaru's henchmen. They annoyed me. And this guy who, I don't think, was he Orochimaru's? I think he was one of the ones that was like, oh no, he was in charge of the trio. Okay, he can go and see. Why am I blanking on her name? Who is she? Okay, I definitely know who this person is. I am blanking on everything about her though. Is she a Jonin too? Holy crap, why can I not remember her? I'm confused. She's gonna have to go in meh if I literally can't remember her name. I hated this guy. Gaara's inside spirit. Meh, I guess. I don't know. I should put Akamaru in C because I do actually think he's cute compared to all these other. Okay, we're finally putting someone in faves. Kakashi and one other character, which is not on here yet, he's coming. Kakashi and him constantly are battling in my head for favorite character of the entire thing. Kakashi is, first of all, just really cool. Do I think he's exceptionally hot, like a lot of people say? Not really. I'm sorry. I feel like I can understand people who grew up with Naruto and watching Kakashi. It was like their first big anime crush. I understand that. But I think because I'm like watching this when there's so many other anime characters that I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're so hot. Also, I don't tend to be like, I like the black hair ones better than the white hair ones. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's like a random side tangent that doesn't have anything to do with my love for his character. I like Kakashi because he's very mysterious, but also very lovable. I feel like when it comes to writing a character where we're kind of getting drip-fed information about them like we are with Kakashi, that can sometimes be a very hard thing to do, because a lot of times if you drip feed information, we just don't ever know enough about them to care. So by the time we get the full thing, it's just kind of like, eh. But Kakashi is still lovable. Again, he has weird quirks, but it's not as bad as Jiraiya, honestly. Like, that's more of a, okay, you do you, bud, I guess. But there was so much in this original series that almost had me tearing up just about him. When he was talking about how he's lost everyone to Sasuke, like no one's alive, which I did see a meme about it where it was like Guy Sensei was like, what am I to you? But you can kind of tell that like Kakashi has gone through so much in his life and lost so much. He's very protective of his students. He's like the dad. I really appreciate that. But one of the things that really got me was he was always late. Like, it was a running gag that he was super late to all of the trio's like main stuff that they were doing. Like if it was training or a mission, he was always late. And it was this like silly thing. And then they dropped some lore near the end of the original series where it was like he was at the monument of all of the lost ninjas of the Hidden Leaf Village. And I think it was Guy Sensei that came up to him and was like, you can't pull yourself away. Or like, are you gonna spend all day here? And Kakashi was like, every time I come here, I can't pull myself away because I think that like they deserve to be alive and I don't, or something. I'm paraphrasing because it's been a minute. But I realized, I was like, oh, he was late because he goes to this monument every day and then he can't take himself, like he can't pull himself away because he's like grieving, he's traumatized. And I really found that interesting. They also dropped little hints about his eye. I think I knew at the very beginning that the Sharingan eye was not his natural thing because I think that's like more of a genetic thing, and there's also clearly a scar. So I couldn't tell if it was like it was forced in, he was a test subject or something along those lines, but I just feel like outside of everything they're dropping, he also is just like very silly, very strong, and very protective of the trio and stuff. So everything works together to make me love him. There is only one other character that constantly fights back on him being my favorite character, which again, I'll talk about in a moment. But Kakashi, love him. Definitely a fave. I don't remember who this person is. I think they're one of Orochimaru's henchmen. I did not care about any of them, and I also kind of hated them. So we're getting the hard hitters here at the end. Another fave. So Gaara is definitely number 3. He hasn't challenged for the top spot yet, but Gaara is one of the best redemption arcs I've seen. I will say that when it comes to the fact that the best redemption arc I've ever seen was Zuko from Avatar: Last Airbender. I don't think I'm gonna see a redemption arc quite like that for a long time, but his redemption arc was really, really well done because I felt like it was perfectly timed where we had just enough time to see that he was truly a victim and for his redemption to feel good. Like it felt, yes, I've been waiting for this. I feel like if they had done it sooner than that, like he had joined the team, it would have been like, oh, okay, like he had a moment where he wasn't good and now he's great. And if they've done longer than that, it would have gone to the point where it's like he did too much damage and it was just like, I don't know how you feel about this. Like, in my opinion, Draco Malfoy is probably one of the worst redemption arcs, if you even call that a redemption arc, because it wasn't until Half-Blood Prince, which was the second to last of 7 books, where he started to seem kind of human. And then he didn't even really turn good at the end. It was like, it just took too long. I had spent way too much time with Draco Malfoy being just a straight up bully to everyone to ever care about a redemption arc for him. Gata was just long enough where it was sweet. It was sweet when he like joined their side. They were an ally, but it wasn't so long that I was just like, oh my gosh, we're just reaching for things. So Gata is in faves simply because I find his character very interesting and I loved his redemption arc. Itachi. He didn't get a ton of time in the original series, so I'm gonna have to try and shut off again my Shippuden brain and put him in A just because, no, he got... All right, I'll put him next to Sasuke. I think he deserves to be an S. I think he's a very interesting villain that represents some very interesting plot points. I still have not seen, like even where I'm at in Shippuden, I feel like I'm getting close to like a big climax, but that being said, he's very interesting. When he showed up and clapped Kakashi, I was like, oh no. Because up until then, I had felt like Kakashi was like the strongest outside of the third Hokage. And Itachi just was like, yeah, didn't even try practically. You know, I just don't really like her that much. From the original series. I will say where I'm at now, I think I might like her a little bit better, but Neji. Is this a hot take? I did not like him. His development's very good, so we'll put him up pretty high, but I did not like him. I did not like his whole thing of like, if you're not born great, you'll never be good enough, that sort of thing. Just like, you can't work hard enough to become great, blah, 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 blah. But his backstory was really sad, and his story is very interesting to me, and I'll put him in B. Simply because I did find his story writing to be very good, and we learned a lot about him. I just didn't like him. Shikamaru. Okay, I'm gonna try so hard to not allow my feelings on the most recent arc I finished to like mess with me here. That being said, he was still already in faves. Shikamaru is one of the supporting cast that's not part of the like main trio plus Kakashi that I feel like has gotten a lot of development. Like, I feel like he's definitely one of the author's favorites when it comes to writing, because I really, really loved him in the Sasuke retrieval arc when he was in charge of that mission and he was just doing everything he could to keep his people alive, but to also succeed at the mission, but he failed in the end. I feel like that was actually a very important failure for not just Naruto, but for Shikamaru too, because it was like his first mission that he was in charge of, and it was such an important one that he couldn't quite do it. I don't tend to love the characters that are always like, oh, mendokusai, like what a drag, like I don't want to do it, but I can tell it's such an obvious front because he knows he lives in a very, very mortal position where if he gets attached to people, he's going to be emotional. And I can't get into him too much about Shippuden because that'll be for a later time from now. I think that his mendokusai is such a front, and people are constantly like kind of pushing at that. They're like, no, like you care. But he so hard wants to not care because he doesn't want to feel the pain and grief of losing people that he knows is going to happen. He's very realistic. I think he's trying to handle things in a very realistic way to just try and remove himself emotionally from the situation and just do his job. But he's also very strong, like mentally. Like his whole thing of being an expert at just predicting things and being able to figure out a move, I love that. His jutsu is, strong, but it has a lot of weaknesses, but his smarts make up for that. So I actually could probably go on about Shikamaru and Kakashi the most, which is why those are the two that are constantly battling for top. One of them's number one, the other's number two, and if they switch, it's just those two switching. It's sort of like how I am with Tanjiro and Giyu, except Tanjiro and Giyu don't switch off. They're just very clearly the top two, while everyone else is kind of constantly shifting. But yeah, that's my tier list. This was a ramble because it's difficult since I've only watched it once, and a lot of these characters because there were so many introduced, you would think that they would have a lot of screen time because there were still well over 100 episodes of the original series that I watched. But a lot of them I feel like just fell to the wayside because of other characters. So that is my list. I don't have many other thoughts. I'm excited to keep watching Shippuden and keep giving you guys my thoughts. But I think that's going to be it for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts. Also follow me on my social medias at Hannah Malay on Instagram and TikTok, and at lookingnerdy on X. With that, I'll see y'all next time. Matane!